let me guess. You thought you were going to leave a thumbs down or a nasty comment, all based on the title or the thumbnail of this video, huh? Well, guess what? Think again.
Guess what?
We paid off another bill.
Wait, we?
Yeah, we.
Okay.
Hey, I was
He
there when
has
you
not
got
contributed.
it. Wait, I was there when you got the
He has not contributed a
I got
penny.
you good.
What's up, you guys? It's KeAmber Vaughn, aka Coach Ke, coming back to you with another video. If you are new to my channel, welcome, and if you're not new, welcome back. Be sure to hit the subscribe button and also tap the bell so that you are notified of every new video that I post. So as you guys can tell by the title of this video, it is time to finally go through my debt freedom journey, give you all the details of where my debt came from, the interest rates and all of that good stuff, how much debt I paid off every single month for the about 18 months that it took me to pay off my debt. Now, before I get into all of the details, I want to preface this by giving you 3 reasons why I titled this video the way that I did and also did the thumbnail the way that I did. Number 1, there are people who are searching for ways to get out of debt on YouTube, on Google, whatever, and a lot of people come across Dave Ramsey videos because he is one of the most popular people in this space. Unfortunately, because everything is not for everyone, some people end up hitting a block in the road or a fork in the road when they come across his methods and they look at them, they research them, they study them, and they realize that it does not work for them. And because of that, some people decide, you know what, maybe I just can't do it. Maybe this just isn't for me, all because this one particular man's methods doesn't work for them. So in me titling the video like this, it allows people to see that there are other people out here who do not use his methods, who are still able to successfully complete their debt freedom journey. Reason number 2 is because per a lot of commenters on my last video, which was I think it was like the 4 or 5 reasons why I don't follow Dave Ramsey, a lot of Dave Ramsey purists is what I will call them, decided not to really watch the video. They just saw the thumbnail, they saw the title, and then they proceeded to attack me in the comment section. I am not allowing that in this video for the very simple reason that I'm not going to allow anybody to bring down my joy in me completing my debt freedom journey. This is a happy moment for me. But because of that, and because of those commenters, I would like for them to see this video so that they can see that regardless of what they commented on that video, I was still able to complete my debt freedom journey just like I said I would. Again, I am not a Dave Ramsey hater. I actually am subscribed to his channel. I watch the majority of his videos. I love a lot of his teachings. I just did not use his methods to get out of debt. That's it. So the third reason is because, well, the title is true. I did become debt free, no thanks to Dave Ramsey, because I did not use his methods. So if you're new to my channel, you may be thinking, okay, well, how do you differ from Dave Ramsey? So there are 2 main reasons. The first main reason is that in order for me to get out of debt, and even after I've gotten out of debt, I did not follow an every dollar or zero-based budget. There's nothing wrong with an every dollar budget. There's nothing wrong with a zero-based budget. It just was not okay or right for me. I am an entrepreneur. My income varies from month to month, and I just felt like it just was not something that I was really interested in at all. And so with the zero-based budget or the every dollar budget, there are 2 main versions of it that I see going across YouTube. The first version is that basically whatever you have left over out of your budget for a month, at the end of the month, let's say you have $500 of that budget left over, you're supposed to take all of that and throw it towards your debt every single month. So you pay your minimum payments, and then whatever you have left over is going to be your extra payment or your debt snowball. That is not what I did. The second version of the every dollar budget or zero-based budget that I've seen a lot of people do until they got caught up and had a negative paycheck at some point was that, let's say the night before payday, I still have $200 left in my account. They would literally drain that $200 out, throw it towards their debt, and then they start over with the new paycheck. So they basically go paycheck to paycheck. I felt like that was pretty dangerous because you can do that and it can work, and then an emergency can happen, and now you don't have enough money to kind of cover everything, which I have seen quite a few YouTubers that happened to them, and then from there on they started to, I guess you could say, have a buffer in their account at all times. Again, for me, your checking account should always have 2 to 3 times your monthly expenses as a buffer at all times. I learned that from a different multi-millionaire some years ago. Now, speaking of emergencies, the second biggest thing that I guess you could say differed from me and Dave Ramsey is that what he suggests is that you have $1,000 in what he calls a mini emergency fund, and you do not save any money past that. I do know that he does allow or suggest or okay for people to have what's called sinking funds, which are little small savings accounts that you save up a little bit of money at one time to save for something big. Like, let's say you have a yearly tax expense or something like that. I do know that he is okay with that because that is actually on his website. Well, for me, first of all, a mini emergency fund is $3,000, not $1,000. I don't think $1,000 really covers a real emergency. But on top of that, I was not okay with only having $1,000 or $3,000 in my savings account, especially again being an entrepreneur, knowing that anything can happen. So I continue to save money while aggressively paying off debt. Now, I do know that some people, especially in my last video, and I think there was a couple of other videos where I've gotten comments on this where they said, oh, well, you could have been out of debt a lot quicker if you didn't save so much money. And while that is true, personal finance is just that. It's personal. You have to do what works for you. I ended up eliminating $26,073.27 in debt in 573 days. And in that time frame, instead of me only saving $1,000, I actually saved $17,045.99 in that same time frame. So I not only funded my mini emergency fund, I funded my true emergency fund, and I also funded a bunch of other funds as well. Now, someone who I love to watch on YouTube, and I'm not going to name her name here, but she had about as much debt as I did when she first started her debt freedom journey, and it took her over 3 years to eliminate that amount of debt. And also, after she became debt free, it took her another 9 months to fully fund her true emergency fund, which her true emergency fund is around the same amount as me. So for people telling me, oh, if you would have done it Dave Ramsey's way, you could have done it a lot quicker. Sure, I possibly could have. I possibly could have not, because I eliminated my debt and saved more money than this other person in less than half the time. Okay, so without further ado, now that you have kind of all of the background information, let me get into all of my different debts, how much it was, what the interest rates were, and all of that good stuff. And I'm also going to detail how much money I paid off in debt and how much money I saved every single month since I started my debt freedom journey. So for this part of the video, of course, you're going to see me look down quite a bit because I definitely wrote down all of my numbers on a piece of paper to make sure, number one, I got them correct, and number two, that I make sure that I have different things that I tell you guys about during this time frame. So first things first, I did start my debt freedom journey in November of 2016. That is when I started to really hone in on debt. For me, I was lucky enough to have my parents to teach me about credit and different things like that. But of course, in building up your credit, one of the, I guess you could say, best ways, which isn't really best when you really think about it, of building up your credit is to go into debt. And so I had car loans, all kind of stuff over the course of many years of me starting to really get into debt when I was about 17 years old. I had student loans and stuff. Again, I'll give you guys the details of that. But the biggest thing for me was my credit card debt. So I had some people ask me, oh my gosh, why did you get into so much credit card debt? And I've had people call me stupid for getting into credit card debt because they have no idea how I did. So the reason, or the way that I got into credit card debt, during the height of my entrepreneurial career, I guess you could say, I was doing a lot of traveling. And so when I was traveling on, it wasn't called a buddy pass, it was called something else. But in this time of me doing that, basically I could only schedule flights, like one flight at a time. I could only do one ways. I couldn't do a round trip. And so what started to happen when I started to use this is when I would go out of town, I would try to rent cars. And so because I was someone who was coming from out of town and I didn't have a return flight, all of these different rental car companies, they required a credit card. And so literally every single time I went out of town, they kept telling me the same thing. Listen, you have to have a return flight, or you had to have a copy of your utilities showing that you're a resident here. Well, of course I wasn't a resident because I was a traveler. So eventually I just said to heck with it, because Uber, I think, was kind of pretty new back then. And I already really didn't like getting into taxis, and it was just something really uncomfortable about getting into a car with a stranger who has like their own car. I don't know. Not saying nothing can happen in taxis, but as a woman and as a black woman, it just, yeah. So I said, you know what? Let me just go ahead and get a credit card. So I got a credit card with my dad. Now, at this time, I was making a lot of money, okay? A lot of money. And so in the beginning, I was paying off the balance every single month, Well, eventually I started to ignore the balance, really just being careless, and also because I knew I had a 0% interest rate. So I was just like, all right, to heck with it. And then by the time my 0% interest rate promo was over, I think I had it for 24 months, if I'm not mistaken. I remember my dad calling me and saying, hey, you know that they charge you like $116 in interest? And I'm like, what do you mean? He's like, the promo price or rate is over. I'm like, crap. So I called the company and I was like, hey, listen, this is my first time, you know, can you guys remove it? They removed it, and that was the last time that I can't say paid, was charged interest on my credit cards. So at this particular point, I decided to take the credit card debt, which I believe was around, because I don't have all of it on here. I remember I made a really big payment before I did this, but I'm pretty sure that my credit card debt got as high as $9,000, anywhere between $7,000 and $9,000. So what I did was, because I had a good interest rate, which that's a whole nother thing that Dave Ramsey tells you guys, is that, you know, your credit score doesn't really matter. And, you know, you have mortgage companies out here that'll give you really low percentage rates, even if you don't have a credit score. I don't believe in that stuff. I believe your credit is very important. And so because of my good credit score, I was able to balance transfer to multiple cards and get 0% interest rates on those. So the first one was Bank of America. I had 0% interest for 12 months. And then the second one was Chase, and Chase was 0% interest for I think Chase was 0% interest for 12 months and Bank of America was 0% interest for 24 months or 18 months, something like that. I'm pretty sure that's how it was, because I had already paid off Chase before I actually started my debt freedom journey. And so the very first debt that I paid off was Bank of America. So by the time that I balance transferred out to Citibank from Bank of America, I only had a $13.67 balance. And so I went ahead and I paid that off in November of 2016. Now, the second debt that I paid off was a Discover card. And so I told you guys that I had a card with my dad. That was my Discover card. And basically, I thought that I had already paid off all of my debt with Discover, but I'm a very like organized OCD type of person, and I'm very analytical, and I just wanted to make sure that I did in fact pay off all of the debt that I put on the card. I didn't want to leave my dad with some balance that was actually mine. Yes, I'm a good kid. So what I ended up doing was I literally went all the way back to the very first transaction. I wrote all of the transactions down. I totaled it up, and then I totaled how much money I paid on the card. And come to find out, there was still $1,150.48 of a balance. And so I went ahead and I paid that entire balance off also in November 2016 when I paid my Bank of America card off. So now, the third debt that I had was a student loan. And so I went to nursing school. I graduated in 2011, December of 2011, almost 7 years ago, with my bachelor's in nursing. And luckily for me, I had a lot of academic scholarships. I had some sports scholarships as well. And so when I came out with my bachelor's, I only had about $7,900 in student loan debt, and I had some pretty decent interest rates. Now, by the time I started my debt freedom journey, I had already paid off a pretty significant amount of this, but I still had a good chunk left. So my first student loan, I had a balance of $1,190.88 when I first started my debt freedom journey, and that was at 3.4% interest, and I was able to pay that off in December of 2016. The next one was my second student loan, and this loan was $2,572.62 with a 4.5% interest rate, and I paid this one off 3 months later in March of 2017. If I am not mistaken, I believe my second student loan started off with like maybe a $5,500 balance, and then the second one was like maybe $2,400 or something like that. So again, I had already paid off quite a bit by then. So next, I started to attack my tax debt. Now, one of the things that Dave Ramsey and other financial experts teach is to get out of debt by doing your smallest debt to your largest. Well, at this particular time, I didn't really want to start tackling my tax debt. I had two tax debts from 2 different years, and don't ask me why it took me so long. I have no idea. But the first tax debt was $550. Again, I should have been paid that off anyway. I don't really know what the percentage rate was as far as the interest goes. I did, however, know that because I didn't put myself on some kind of payment plan, and also because I hadn't been making payments, that there were certain fees that I was not charged because of that. So I paid the $550 balance off in April of 2017, and then 2 months later I paid off the second tax debt of $2,610, and that was in June of 2017. So at this point, I'm 7 months into my debt freedom journey, and I have paid off 6 of my 8 debts that I started off with. So next was my Citibank card, and I started off with a balance of $3,297.03. And the reason why I put this credit card debt so far down on the list is because every other debt that I had was accruing some kind of interest besides those 2 credit cards, basically. And so it only made sense for me to pay off my student loans and also pay off the tax debts that both or all 4 had some kind of interest, and I could leave my credit card, you know, there because I was not accumulating interest. If I'm not mistaken, my Citibank card was 0% interest for 2 years, I think. So it only made sense for me to make that almost last. So I paid that debt off in October of 2017, and I do know that during the time of me paying that off, I do remember that I charged, actually the camera that I'm recording this video on, I did charge that on my credit card. There was really no rhyme or reason. I had the cash to do it. I just decided to pay it with my credit card. I don't know. All right, so next would be my BMO Harris. So at this point, I was 7 out of 8 debts in, and I only had my last debt, which was my car loan. And so my car loan started off at $13,832.84 when I started this journey. Of course, by the time I started to pay this debt off, you know, at lightning speed, that wasn't the balance. But my interest rate on my car was 3.29%. So I don't really have a high interest rate, or I didn't have a high interest rate on my car. Neither did I really have high interest on any other debt that I had. So that was like a big thing as well that I've had to continuously explain in comment sections, that I am not like a lot of other people who have 16% interest, 24% interest. I always had low interest, again, because credit was always taught to me as being something that was important. So that became my last debt basically really in November of 2017, because I paid off the Citibank card at the end of October of 2017, and I became 100% debt free in May of 2018. So if you total up all the balances of my debts that I just gave you, the balance comes out to be $25,217.42. But I already told you guys that I ended up making $26,073.27 in debt payments, which gives a difference of $855.85. Again, this camera was purchased during that time on credit, so that added to my debt balance. And then also in there is some of the interest that I did end up accumulating primarily on my car. So that was pretty much my debt breakdown. And now I'm going to go through the numbers of how much debt I paid off, or how much in debt payments I put towards debt every single month since I started my debt freedom journey in November of 2016, and also how much money I saved at the same time. So starting off in November, I saved $3,144.20. So I basically started my savings account with $2,000 that I already had before I even started earning any money that month. And then based on my income, that's how much money I ended up putting extra towards the savings. And then I paid off, I believe, $931.56. The first 2 months, I don't really have exact numbers. I kind of had to go based on my what do you call them? It was like the budget report cards for that month, and I had like the total and how much debt I had left. So I probably made some extra debt payments on top of that. That just was the balances that I had left. So again, those 2 months are kind of sketchy, November and December. So December, I saved $1,333.23, and then I paid off $1,232.09 in debt. In January of 2017, so now we're in the new year, I paid off $1,117.98 in debt, and then I saved $751.19. In February, I paid off $1,223.91 in debt, and then I saved $860.17. In March, I paid off $883.45 in debt, and then I saved $974.86. In April, I paid off $1,614.55 in debt, and then I saved $905.08. In May of 2017, I paid off $1,211.48 in debt, and then I saved $862.69. Now, as I'm saving, I was basically funding my mini emergency fund of $3,000, my true emergency fund of $9,000. I also started an income tax sinking fund and an investment sinking fund, and that is it, because I didn't start my last sinking fund until after I was completely out of debt. So in June of 2017, I paid off $1,315.65 in debt, and then I saved $1,012.20. In July, I paid off $1,478.94, and then I saved $1,172.41. In August, I paid off $970.98 in debt, and then I saved $676.45. In September, I paid off $1,194.98, and then I saved $307.52. I remember September was the month where I completely funded my mini and my true emergency fund, and so the following month I decided not to save any money whatsoever. So in October, I paid off $1,125.96 in debt, and then again, like I said, I did not save any money that month. Then November came around of 2017, and I decided to start my income tax sinking fund because I am self-employed and I do not get taxed on my self-employment income, any of my commissions. I decided that it would be very important for me to just start saving my tax payments, especially, considering that 2 of my 8 debts were tax debts. I didn't want for tax season to continue coming around every single year and I not be prepared. So this particular month, I paid off $1,062.42 in debt, and then I saved $539.69. In December, I paid off $1,264.80 in debt, and then I saved $1,264.82. Then in January, it was just a crazy month for me. I had money just kind of going every which way. And so that particular month, I decided not to save any money, nor did I pay anything off in debt. So that particular month, I strictly paid my car note, the minimum, and that was it. Which, by the way, My car note was my car note was $262.53. And I can tell you guys that with me eliminating my debt, before I continue on and give you guys the last set of numbers, I have eliminated over $800 a month in debt bills that I had when I had debt. Having that $800 a month come back into my budget has been like crazy. Like I'm so used to paying my rent at the beginning of the month, and then towards the very end of the month having to, you know, have my car note come out, which again, my car note really wasn't that much. But the other thing that you have to remember, especially as you're hearing the numbers of how much debt I was paying off in that time frame, I was averaging over $1,400 a month that I was putting towards debt. So it's not just the $800 a month in debt bills that's coming back into my budget. It's really over $1,400 that's coming back into my budget because I'm no longer having to throw so much money at my debt. It's a crazy feeling. Basically, outside of my rent, the biggest expense that I have is my car insurance. That's about $112 or $117, something like that a month, which I'm trying to get down now because I don't have any like tickets or accidents or anything on my record. But yeah, like literally once my rent is paid, which I basically save my rent for the following month, like in the first 2 weeks of the month. So once I put that money off to the side, I don't have to worry about any large debt coming out. Most of my any large bills coming out, most of my bills are like less than $50 a month, literally, except my car insurance. So sorry for that soapbox, but I just want you guys to understand that like this journey is hard and it's very difficult to stay focused, but you can do it. And when you do it, like the reward that comes at the end of it is ridiculously crazy, but I'll talk about that in a little bit. So getting back on track, I'm sorry. February of 2018, I paid off $1,502.65 in debt, and then I saved $1,240.12. In March of 2018, I paid off $3,076.44 in debt, and then I saved $1,611.61. That was literally my largest debt payment and also the month where I saved the most money as well. So then we have April. In April, I paid off $2,123.49 in debt, and then I only saved $200 that month, for the simple reason that I just told myself, listen, I have a goal. I want to become debt free by May. So I'm just going to save this couple $100, put it towards my income tax sinking fund, and then I'm throwing everything else at debt, period. It was very difficult for me to do because I'm literally a saver. I've been a saver literally my whole life. That's what I was taught to do, was to save my money and, you know, live frugal and stuff like that. So that was very hard for me. Even though the previous month I paid off $3,000 in debt, I still saved $1,600. So it still felt a little safe for me. But that paying off $2,000 and only saving $200 really drove me crazy. And then the finale, in May of this year, I paid off my remaining balance of my car loan. So my regular payment came out of the $262.53, and then I put the extra payment towards it. So I ended up paying off $1,586.78 in debt, and then I saved $619.75. So just as a, I guess you can say, tip for those of you all who are starting to pay your debts off, especially when it comes to your car. Now, I don't know if every single lender does this, but I know that mine does. So I had to start paying my regular payment for my car a little bit earlier because my car loan was actually due at the very end of every month. So I moved it up about 5 days, and that allowed my regular payment to process in time for me to be able to make an extra payment that was a principal only payment. That was very important for me, was that no amount of money went to interest. You guys, there were times where, like, basically the way that my bank worked, when I called in the extra payment to be principal only, they still put it towards interest, and then I had to call in once that payment processed for them to reapply it. There were times where literally the people on the other end of the phone were like, ma'am, you do know it's 73 cents. Absolutely. And that 73 cents needs to go towards my principal. The only extra payment that I ever made on my card that was not principal only was the very last payment. I went into the branch. I had enough money, and I think it was only like maybe $2 or $1 and something. I don't know. But I was just so excited that I didn't think about it until I got home, and I was like, bruh, I forgot to tell him principal only. But it's all good. So yeah, that is the breakdown of my debt and how much money I paid off in debt and stuff like that. As far as how I did it, honestly, you guys, I have my own method, and it's not very complicated per se, but it's all based on my income and how I allocate it based on that. And you know, that way when my income fluctuates and goes up and down, I don't have to worry about the fact that I put so much towards debt and wasn't able to save money. That was like the biggest reason why it was so difficult for me to pay off debt the prior times or previous times that I tried, was because I was throwing so much money at debt, and then I would look at my savings account and I'm like, this ain't enough. I just made $1,000 debt payment and I only, you know, put $50 in my savings or something like that. It just didn't make sense. So I had to sit down and literally figure out how I can come up with a plan that will work best for me. Because again, personal finance is just that personal. I looked over a lot of different plans. Dave Ramsey, this person, that person. You know, I read a bunch of blogs, and everybody pretty much regurgitates the same freaking information. Nobody out here is original anymore. But yeah, so that led me to developing and coming up with my own plan, and it helped me. And the biggest thing for me was not just becoming debt free, but becoming debt free and already having my mini emergency fund and my true emergency fund fully funded, so that at the point where I became debt free, I could actually start enjoying my money. Now, my very first, I guess you could say, budget after becoming debt free, I don't know why I was crazy enough to make it like super strict. I guess I was just wanting to challenge myself a little bit. But it was very important for me to do it the way that I did. I was still able to travel whenever I wanted to. I was still able to shop whenever I wanted to and do what the hell I wanted to do with my money. I'm not a big believer in, you know, eating beans and rice and not going out to eat. Listen, I have a budget to go out to eat every single month. And even when I was in debt, I still had the same exact budget that I have now. When I wanted to go out of town and travel and go on trips, when I was in debt, I still did it the same way I do now, because I am a firm believer that, you know, I don't know if we have another life after this. And because I know people who have, you know, lost their lives or passed away at young ages, family members included, it was very important for me to live my life and enjoy my money even while I was paying off debt. Although paying off debt was my way of getting rid of some of the bad decisions that I made, you know, as I was starting to grow into my own and really understand money the best way that it worked for me, it was very important for me to enjoy it, because I didn't want to, you know, look up and let's say I got really sick or something, and the only thing I'm thinking about is the fact that, man, I should have used my money to enjoy my time. Being a nurse and having to take care of people on their deathbeds, nobody ever says, hey, I just wish I had more money. Everybody says, I wish I had more time. And the reason why they say that is because instead of them spending the time that they had on this earth to do what they wanted to do, they did what other people wanted them to do, or they did, you know, what the tradition tells them to do, or whatever the case may be. They didn't do things for themselves. And so it was very important for me to make sure that I did it the way I wanted to do it. And guess what? It still worked. So I hope that you guys enjoyed this video. Please give this video a thumbs up. Oh wait, you can't, because I turned the rating off. I'm so used to saying that in every video. I really wish that I could keep that part open, because I know it's so many of you guys who enjoy my videos, who want to show me how much you enjoy my videos by giving me a thumbs up. But because of how many people thumbs down my previous Dave Ramsey video without even looking at the video, it was very crazy. And I could tell because that video was like 20 something minutes long and the average view duration was like 7 minutes and something. And every person who commented something negative, I could tell they didn't watch the full video, because even some of the most pure Dave Ramsey followers who watched the entire video left me a comment letting me know, listen, I was coming here just to like rag on you, but after watching the video, I understand where you're coming from. I don't expect for everybody to enjoy everything I put out. I don't expect for everybody to have the same opinions of me or even like my opinions. I don't really care about that. I'm not here for that. I'm literally on YouTube to share my journey, to show other people that you can do it too. When people see that other people are able to accomplish some of the goals and dreams that they have, it keeps them going. And I really want to show other people who look like me that it is possible and you can do it regardless of what society tells you to do. The problem is that so many people who don't agree with you, they don't know how to disagree respectively. And that's the biggest issue that I have. So instead of you giving me a thumbs up, feel free to leave me a comment down below. I do have to approve the comment. So if you came here again thinking that you would be able to leave hateful, disrespectful comments on this video, it's not happening, because this video is all about positive energy and it's about my happiness and my joy of becoming debt free, which is what a lot of you guys who are watching this video want to achieve, and even other people who are just in the YouTube space, in the budgeting community. I did it, and I'm here to show you that you can too. So go ahead and subscribe if you haven't already. But other than that, I will see you guys in the next video. I really hope you enjoyed this. Bye, guys.